Welcome back everybody. Today I thought we would talk about the Vevor MIG-250. I've got two different generations of the same machine and I thought we will look at the differences between them. What has changed? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it the same? Hopefully all those questions will be answered today. But first, a little backstory. I was sent this machine 3 years ago in order to make a review video. I will link that video down below. In that video I tested with flux core, with the gas MIG, with TIG, and I think even with stick. So if you're interested in that, go check that video out. I won't test this machine with all those techniques. I just don't think it's necessary. Anyway, since that video 3 years ago, I've been using this as my main welder. And I've actually had a pretty good time with it. I've been welding all sorts of stuff, but the thing I've been welding the most is thin sheet metal, 0.9 millimeters. And not once during that time I have felt that the machine is holding me back. If the welds are bad, it's on me, not the machine. So when Vevor reached out to me and wanted me to test their new MIG-250, I was actually a bit hesitant. I thought I already have a welder that I'm happy with and I see no reason to change to another machine at this point in time. But then I thought it might actually be interesting to see the changes they have made to this machine, and it might be interesting for you to get an update on my feelings on this machine. So in order to be 100% transparent, both of these machines has been sent to me for free, but no money has exchanged hands. They only asked me to do a review of them. They haven't told me what to say about the machines. That's up to me. So this is my unfiltered opinion. I will do some welding with this machine. It wouldn't really be a good review of a welding machine if I didn't, but I won't do any extensive testing. There are a bunch of other videos on YouTube that does that, and I think they are doing a better job than I would be able to do. But since I have both machines, we will look at the differences and what has changed. And I think we'll start with the machines themselves, and I think we will start on the back. And starting from the top, we have the power buttons. And the new machine actually has a dust cover. I really like that. Next to that, we have the power cord. On the new machine, it actually looks like I can unscrew the power cord and change it if it gets damaged. I am a big fan of repairability, so that is a big gold star in my book. On the old machine, we then have the gas nipple, and that has moved to the bottom of the new machine. Doesn't really matter. On the new machine, you actually have a 36-volt outlet, and that is actually pretty cool. You're supposed to use that to plug in a heater for your gas. I don't have a heater like that, and in my experience, those are mostly used in industrial settings. So the fact that they included it in this machine is actually pretty nice. And on the new machine we have two fans, and on the old one we only have one. It looks like the old one is a little bit bigger, and in my experience I like bigger fans better. They kind of make a nicer noise, if you know what I mean. But I don't think it really matters. If we move on to the size of the machines, I think they are pretty equal. When I first unpacked this new machine, since it is a bit smaller than the old one, I was afraid that it wouldn't support a 5-kilo roll. But the instructions on the lid actually tells me that it does support a 5-kilo roll, and I can confirm that. It is a tight fit, but it does fit. On the top, both of them have handles. This one does fold down. I'm not sure if that is better or not. I guess that is up to personal preference. But moving on to the front, this is where it gets interesting. If I fire them up, you will definitely see the difference. I'm really sorry if the audio turned into crap now. These machines are Not loud, but they do make a significant noise. The new machine has a lot more settings that you can fiddle around with, while the old one does not. On the old one, you can set the voltage right here and the wire speed. And I think the wire speed is actually the current, but I'm not really sure. On the new machine, you have the same options, but the dial is much nicer. For every step, it has a little click, and that makes it really easy to dial in exactly the value you want. While on the old machine, you have to fiddle with it a bit. It's not impossible to hit an exact number, but it takes a bit more time. One thing that the new machine has that the old one doesn't is that you can actually set the wire feeding speed. You long press the trigger mode button, and there you go. There is your wire speed. I can't really say I have missed that on this machine, but it is a nice thing to have. One thing that the old machine has that the new doesn't is this little button right here. It's a quick feed for the wire. It's actually only useful when you change your welding wire. But if you do that often, it's a pretty nice thing to have. But then again, I don't really miss it on this machine. I don't think I mentioned it, but both of these machines supports flux core, MIG with gas, stick welding, and lift TIG. Alright, let me turn this old machine off and we can focus on the new settings on the new machine. On the new machine you have something called weld mode, so you can put it into different modes. The first one is MIG manual, the second one is MIG pulse. I will actually try that later because I think that is pretty interesting, but I think it's mostly useful when you are welding aluminium. Then you have MMA, that's your stick welding, and TIG lift. You also have a button to choose what material you are welding. You can choose from steel, stainless steel, flux core, and aluminium. Over here you can select your trigger mode. You can choose between 2T and 4T. 2T is your regular mode where you press the button, hold it, and release it when you want to stop. In 4T you actually press the button and then you can release it and you can go ahead and weld, and then you press it again to stop. For me, I always run 2T. I think 4T is a bit confusing. And underneath that, you can actually choose your wire thickness. It supports 0.8 millimeters and 1 millimeter. And on the bottom here, you can choose what kind of gas you are running. 100% CO2 or a mix. I'm running 100% CO2. And lastly, we have a pretty cool thing where you can save a preset to the machine. So let's say I want to save a preset with 16.6 volts and 87 amps. I press this save button and it actually looks like you can have multiple different settings saved. All the way to 18, so maybe you can actually save 18 different presets. That's pretty nice. And then I press this little button and I can load up my setting. I have to change it first. Like that, and we select the first job. There you go, it actually works. Alright, let me turn this off and we can talk about the accessories that you get with the welder. For both these machines, you get a MIG gun that looks pretty similar. There are slight differences, but I think they are the same thing actually. Yeah, I think they are. And then you get a ground clamp, and they actually do look a bit different. The clamp for the new machine is a bit bigger, It's way harder to open, but that might also be because I have been using this for 3 years. But the wire is quite a bit thicker and I really like that. Yeah, looks good. You also get some replacement tips and a tool for the MIG gun, and you get the same thing with this old machine. And you get a bunch of different feeding wheels. I think they are including more wheels with the new model. I can't remember having this many wheels on the old one. They also include a handle for stick welding, and that is the same handle I think that I got with this one. And they include a hose for gas. The hose I got with this machine I wasn't really impressed with. It looks like this might be a tad bit nicer, but personally I have bought another hose that is actually rated for CO2. I'm not sure this one actually is. But the hose clamps are quite alright, and they are actually upgraded with the new machine. They are a bit larger and looks a bit better, I think. Nice. One thing that I didn't get with the new machine that I did get with the old machine is a torch for the lift TIG. In all honesty, lift TIG isn't that much fun. If you are about to do TIG welding, I think you should do yourself a favor and get another machine that is a bit better, at least for TIG welding. But they did give you the torch and now they don't, so I guess that is actually a little win for this machine. Another thing that they didn't include with the new machine is the crappy pair of welding goggles. I have no idea why they include that. If you use them, you will most definitely go blind. So not including them, I think, is a plus. You should not use that. You should get yourself a proper welding hood. With all that said, I think the next thing to do is to do some welding. I have hooked up the gas, but I haven't welded 1 millimeter with this machine. Maybe I actually should have tested it out before making this video, but I didn't. So this is the first time I'm using it. One small improvement that they have made to the manual for the new machine is that they actually include charts for your wire speed and all that. I did actually miss that with this old machine. But then again, the chart is only for 1 millimeter and 1.2 millimeter wire. The 1 millimeter I can understand, but the 1.2 I can't understand because this machine doesn't even support that. But it does support 0.8, so I think it would have made sense to include 0.8 in this chart instead. So I guess I won't be using this chart, but still it can be nice to have it. Another thing that is really nice to have is a circuit diagram. I can't remember that they included that with this machine, but they do with this new machine. But the print is really bad. You can't really read it. But I'm pretty sure if you go to the website and download the PDF version of the manual, you can actually read it. Once again, big win for repairability. All right, let's get to welding. All right, let's see. I will plug the ground clamp right to the table. I have my gas over here, I will turn that on. And I will make sure that we're on the correct settings. MIG manual, that should be fine. Voltage and amperage, I guess I will just guess, yes. Pure 2. Yeah, let's try it. I have these small triangles that I thought I would weld together. I think they are about 4 millimeters. All right, here we go. Yep, it does weld. Oh. I'm gonna try to lower the wire speed and see what happens. I wonder if the wire speed is actually connected to the amperage in any way. The wire speed is now 3.5. If you raise the amperage, let's see if it actually raises the wire speed as well. Yes, now it's a 5.9. So you don't really have to mess with the wire speed, but you can if you want to. And I think that is good. I think I want to try to weld some sheet metal. After all, that is the most common thing that I weld. The technique I'm using to weld sheet metal is called stack attack. I think it's called Fisher that has come up with that name. Oh, these pieces weren't very even, but I think it will work. Let's try. The basic idea with that technique is that you double the voltage compared to what you will actually use with this thin kind of material, and you just lay down a quick tack. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. That worked. Full penetration. Maybe I can actually lower the amperage a bit. Let's see. I really like the finer controls. It's a lot easier to work with than on this old machine. Yep, looks fine. I actually want to try the pulse setting. I know it's meant for aluminum, but maybe it can actually help me when welding sheet metal as well. Let's see. MIG pulse. Let's see what happens. Holy shit. All right, that didn't work at all as I expected. Maybe I need to change some settings here. Wow, actually went up this, okay. Let's see, what if we, I can't go any lower than 12.4 volts. Well, let's see what happens. I think that is way too high. I blew through here quite big. Okay, I don't think that is useful for me, but maybe it is for someone else. Well, good to know. Okay, I think it's time to come to a conclusion. All right, let's see what we've got here. First of all, I have been really happy with this machine. If you think about what it actually costs, it's a lot of machine for the money. I would highly recommend it, and I have actually recommended it to my friends as well. I'm genuinely impressed with this machine, and it has taken me through a lot of welding during these 3 years. And I'm pretty sure it would hold up a lot of more years if I will let it. But considering that these two machines are the same price, if I had none of them and I would get a new one, I would get this one. It's small improvements, but it is improvements, and I really like that. And if you go for the 200 version instead of the 250, I actually think there are a few more modes that helps you set the voltage and amperage. And that can be really helpful for someone that is new to welding. I can actually only think of one thing that is in this machine's favor, and that is that it comes with a TIG torch. Even though it's just a lift TIG torch, it's still a TIG torch. If you're not that into TIG welding and you only will be doing it like once or twice a year, maybe lift TIG is good enough for you. I think lifting is a bit cumbersome, but it's still fun and it still works. And with this machine you get the torch, so that is a plus. You can hook a torch up to this machine, but you need to buy it separately. But what if you already have this machine? Is it worth it to upgrade? In my opinion, it's not. The new features on this machine is not worth the upgrades in themselves, but if you're getting a new machine, I think they are worth it, and I think you should get this machine. Well, there you have it. This was my update on the MIG-250 and a look at the new version of the MIG-250. If you're interested in any of these machines, there will be links down in the description together with a discount code. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!